I want to talk about aliens. And I know it seems weird. I usually talk about the Bible, but I believe this is actually very pertinent to the Bible. And the Bible actually talks about this. I mean, it talked about this many, many, many years ago. It warned about what would happen, okay, in the end times. And what I will tell you is so here's the circumstances right now. We all know aliens, okay? After the big movie Independence Day, we all became really aware of this whole like alien lore, right? And we have so many movies now about aliens. And it's just kind of been like engulfed in our culture, and it's kind of fun and exciting. It's a little scary to think about these, potential extraterrestrials from a different planet. It's all fun and games, right? Until the government releases files about potential of these, aliens. Okay. Now, I've seen some of the footage. If you haven't seen it, you may want to see it for yourselves. It's interesting, right? It's interesting in the sense that, you have these like weird objects all around, right? That is, and you have these testimonies from these very official people. Honestly, even in the military, like how do you prove your credentials? Well, in the military, you do have credentials. You do have statuses. A lot of these guys are they get promoted because of their status, because of they've exemplified a certain character. I'm sure they're not liars, and the reason why they get there, which I guess that some people may. At least in the corporate world, that happens all the time. But I think in the military, there's like these guys aren't lying. They saw what they saw, and they are testifying about what they saw. And so there's a lot of this evidence, okay, that's being released about potential aliens. And what I'm here to say today is that the Bible has already warned about this. What the Bible warned about is a great deception. And so when you think about a great deception, think about like, how are you going to play this? Let's just put you in the enemy's like territory, or in the enemy's mindset. Like, how are you going to deceive generations and generations of people? Is there just some guy that's going to pop up and be like, hey, I'm the Antichrist? Probably not, because it's so clear in the Bible that like there's a man who's going to come in and do this. So how else are you going to do this? Well, let's use sciences, right? Aliens use science. They're extremely technologically advanced. It's a great way to deceive people, honestly, and be like, and they may say like, a religion's not real. All this was made up to make you guys, be more, I don't know, calm and not kill each other. This was all made up. We are actually the real, owners of the universe, or whatever you call it. Okay, so I honestly believe there's a great deception. It says in Matthew 24:4-5 that, take heed that no man deceives you. Oh, sorry. Let's talk about Matthew 24:24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. The very elect are Christians, like people in the Christian church. Okay. So don't think that you cannot be deceived, because they're going to have a story that is so good, that is so convincing, that the very elect, maybe elders in your church, maybe even pastors, will be deceived. Okay, so as a critical thinker, I just want to say, like, listen, I am a critical thinker. Okay, like I when I say critical thinker, I am not one who believes things very easily. I didn't just believe in Christ. This was not an easy journey for me. In fact, a little background on myself was I was an atheist, and I was a hardcore atheist. What does that mean, hardcore atheist, exactly? Well, let me tell you, I actually used to debate with these so-called intellectuals, theologians, people who studied the Bible, and I used to actually study about discrepancies and anything that I felt like was false in the Bible, and I would study against them, and I would go and I would argue with them. I mean, that's a level of atheism that I took, okay? Because I'm not one who just easily believes. I don't know. I was born kind of just a skeptical person. Okay, so I listen, I was skeptical about Christ. Of course, I believed it. Like anybody who really studies and really actually gets into the word and gets into the evidences, right? Because there's so many evidences. A lot of people convert to Christ at the end of the day. So I would encourage you, if you're a skeptic, to at least look into it. Now, uh, even in business, okay, like I've built several businesses. I have a lot of real estate. I run businesses right now. And, I'm a critical thinker in that sense. I'm always, it's like I don't want to follow things that are, I mean, obviously you need to have like a lot of faith to be a successful entrepreneur. For me, I always went like the safe route because I want to make sure that if I'm going to go, if I'm going to invest money into this particular method of bringing in more business, I want it to be a verifiable, proven track record thing that I can even be interested. Okay. That's always been how I looked at things. But all this to say is that when I look at what's going on right now in the world, like with this whole UAP, with this whole alien thing that's coming out right now by the government, this is not new stuff. I guess, like, if you are not a Christian, if you don't believe, my question to you is like, there is so much stuff, weird stuff in this world. Don't you think that there's a possibility of there being a spiritual world out there? Okay, there's government officials that have actually said that these are not necessarily aliens from a different planet. It's that they are interdimensional beings, okay? Officials who call it interdimensional beings. Officials who have seen footage that we have not. Officials that have heard and seen things in closed doors that still believe they are called interdimensional beings. And a lot of people call them demons. That's really what they are. This is what this is. And this is what a lot of pastors are saying right now, too. They're just demons. They're interdimensional beings. They're in a different dimension. They're in the spiritual realm. And what we are seeing are, in these objects are just manifestations of a different dimensional being. Okay. And so, but don't you guys watch those? There's a reason why, the whole ghost lore, right? It's like, I don't know if maybe you guys may be too young for this, but there were ghost hunters. I mean, this was a huge thing for a very long time. And, one of the most confounding things that I've heard from a ghost hunter was, and these hunters were atheists. When they saw this, like they saw so many ghost situations, they've seen crosses, literally a cross that's upright right in front of them. They've seen crosses like turn around by themselves. They've seen objects. They've seen things and beings and whatever. They've seen things move. I mean, like doors closing in and out. I mean, do you think all these people are lying? No, these are real things, guys. And they are all part of the same thing, these are demons. Okay? Sorry, just to finish about the atheist ghost hunters, they are now Christians because they are so convinced after what they've seen that there are definitely demons, which means that there's definitely a God. They're not ghosts, okay? That's what they want you to believe. These what do you call it? The tarot readers, whatever. These people who like call on the dead and whatnot. They're not talking to the dead. They're talking to demons, and they deceive through demonic work. They can recall what the parents felt or saw. I mean, I don't know what goes on in the spiritual realm, but this stuff is not new. Alien life, all this stuff, like this stuff is not new. And cultures for many generations, even in ancient cultures, they've always talked about this. There's like this demon lore, or there's a spiritual realm that has always existed since the beginning of time, because what is in this word has always been. And this talks a lot about the spiritual realm. Okay. So, and then the other question is like, and I'm really just like I'm baffled sometimes by people who just don't believe that there's a God, because you see all these like satanic rituals in the elite. I mean, this stuff is not like, it's not conspiracy anymore. Okay. It's like this stuff happens. The Epstein files were just a part of this thing that's going on. And people still doubt. They're like, oh, that stuff. Did the Epstein files not happen? Did they not do child sacrifices? I mean, you hear about this stuff. You see Hollywood people making signs and being very bold about their whatever their faith in Satan, and they all wear all red. I mean, it's like you could say conspiracy all day long, but I feel like it's okay. If there was a chance of this being real and not, there's so like the chances of it not being real or it being real is so much greater than the chances of this not being real. Like there's just so much evidence. It actually is. You can call a believer stupid, like, oh, you're just you're just trying to find something, you don't have any evidence, there's no science. Oh my gosh, there's so much evidence for the Bible being true. There's so much like stuff out there that kind of points toward a spiritual world. And the government now is like, they're releasing files on a potential alien life, okay, which is part of the Great Deception. And how long are you going to hold out? How long are you just going to stay in denial and just, say that none of this is real? I guess for me as a critical thinker, it just kind of blows my mind. And I think this is just more evidence for Christ and the spiritual realm. And I hope, for those of you guys who don't, believe in God and who are an atheist like me, I hope it's so worth at least looking into it. It's worth your time. Like, I know you're busy at your job and you're just trying to survive, or you're thriving in your career, or you have a family. I understand all that. But if God is truly real, it is so worth exploring. Because if God were real and you didn't ever explore your faith, according to our God, there is in heaven and there is in hell. You're choosing not to believe in God. You're choosing to ignore God. And I'm telling you, the consequences of sin is death. It's forever being in hell. And hell is not just a fun place, you get to hang out with your friends. No, hell is forever, and it's forever torment. Okay? Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth for you to quit your job for 5 years. I know that sounds radical, but it's not. It's worth it to explore this. Trust me. Because if this means this little blip of life that you live determines where you live for the rest of eternity, okay? We're not talking 1,000 years. We're not talking 10,000 years. We're not talking 100 trillion years, okay? This is forever. And that's a promise. So I'm just asking you guys to please explore this. I think there's just so many more evidences now, and you can call it conspiracy, but man, I feel like we're there. There's more evidence for Christ than not. There's more evidence of a spiritual realm than not, and I just hope that you explore this because the consequences are too great. So. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys have a good day and a good week.